Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Skagit Storytellers. My guest today is Clint Easley. He's the CEO and founder of Revel Entertainment. I always joke that I like to do an episode of musicians and then an episode of like a normal person. And Clint is my normal person, but I really don't think he's that normal. He's, like I said, he's the CEO and founder of Revel Entertainment. He has a really cool story of how he got into this position. So I think you should check it out. Lots of luck and hard work. So I just mean luck because he was talking about hiking in the Hollywood Hills and he ended up meeting up with someone on a hike and that completely changed his life. So go outdoors and meet someone. You never know what's going to happen. He tells a really cute story as well about how he met his wife. So Clint's from the Valley and then he left and he came back. So I think that's really neat too when people come back, and I think they really appreciate what the Valley has to offer. And Clint's really doing that. Listen to the episode. We talk about things that we're possibly going to collaborate on in the future. And like I said in the description, Clint has the three things that I really value in a person: enthusiasm, curiosity, and just hard work ethic. So if anything, I think Clint and I are going to be really good friends. I would love to also collaborate with him on some stuff. And if you're thinking of some kind of video or design project, reach out to him. He has a team of, I believe he said there's 12 people in his company. And he's just open to conversation. So start a conversation. And if your project isn't for him, I'm sure he could point you in the right direction. So there you go. This is my second week of releasing on Saturdays. So hopefully I remember to schedule this. It's so hard to remember now. So our radio show, that reminds me of radio, is on Wednesdays from 6 until 8 on anacorusmusicproject.org/tune-in. You can listen online on that website. I also post the archive link as well. If you go to our Instagram page at That Reminds Me of Radio, if you go to the highlights, you can see all of the previous shows and just click on the link. Yeah, so enjoy. We always talk about upcoming shows as well. The one show I wanted to mention as well is Pretty Much Nothing has their next show coming up on June 21st. It's at Buxton's in Anacortes. They're playing with Ricky's band. It's either We Were Heroes or We Are Heroes. I'm sorry, Ricky. And there's another band as well. And that's cool too because it's all ages. And I feel like often when Spencer has a show, it's not all ages. So I'm really, really hoping that our daughter Olive can come to the show and rock out with us. So radio show Wednesdays, podcast is now coming out on Saturdays. Other than that, I'm just getting back into running, and I am really looking forward to school being over. Had a really great group of kids this year. A lot of change in the Burlington district, just ready to be done. Spencer built us a deck in the backyard. We got furniture. He got this cute little pool. We're looking to relax in the summer. So, I think that's it. I'm going to keep this intro short. Check out Clint's website, Revel Entertainment, REVOL. And you can, if you scroll down on the homepage, there's like a contact form. So if you do think about reaching out to him, just hit him up there. And then he'll get back to you. Tell him that you heard him on this podcast. That would be pretty cool. So, that's it. Enjoy your weekend. Be of use and go do something hard.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to one of the most northern parts of the United States of America. Travel with me upriver as we talk to a bunch of ladies and fellers and they share their tales of wit and wisdom. That's right, it's time again for Skagit Storytellers
with Liz Duffy. I always like to start my podcast off with talking about how we met. So we met 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Upstairs. However, I feel like a lot of times I reach out to people and go, oh, I love your music. Like, can you come on? Or somebody will say, oh, you should have so-and-so on. And you actually contacted me, which is very rare. So how did you hear about me?
So originally we have been talking about, so we have a media company, so a little bit different than
When
music.
you say we, who's we?
My company's Revel Entertainment, but there's about 12 of us now. So it's grown to where we have a team of editors, graphic designers, camera guys, and pretty much everyone is freelance. So we all team up together and use Revel as our platform to create commercials, promos, highlights, and anything video, photo, content related that people need.
So that's REVEL.
Lover
Revel.
backwards. We joke around all the time. Because I had no idea it was Lover backwards until after we had it LLC'd and everything. And somebody's like, did you know that's Lover backwards? I was like, I didn't realize it. But now it's a great reference to know how to spell it.
There you go.
So I love that you record a lot of people that are music related, because we infuse music to a lot of the edits and things we do, right?
And where do you get your music from?
That would be a great question to ask Kyle. There's so many different...
is Kyle the one that told you about me?
Yeah, so that's
okay.
where I was going to lead up into this. So Kyle's played in some bands. He's got some music background. He's got a great ear for sound design, and that's where a lot of our music gets chosen for the different videos, and most of the time the clients are all about it. But I think I have been talking to Kyle. I was like, I really want to develop a YouTube channel called Skagit Stories. And then he pointed me in your direction on Instagram. He's like, did you know there's Skagit Storytellers? And I was like, what is this? So I looked it up, not realizing you had a podcast and you had all these fun things going on. And we were originally wanting to feature small businesses that have been rooted in Skagit Valley for a long time. And the main intent is just to shed light on learning more about them. Like, how did you get started? Do a cool history lesson, and then maybe throw in some little donuts in there where it's like, where's your favorite restaurant to go to, or where's a hidden gem of a location you go for a sunset. Things that maybe not everybody knows about, but stir up some local gems in it. And then also just have the opportunity to feature some great companies that have built the foundation of Skagit Valley over so many years. And there's a lot of great companies coming into town, but there's so often you'll drive by a business and you see the signs all the time, right? You're like, what do they actually do over there? So I was really fascinated by that. And then one that I hope we get to do a story on is Pacific Northwest Tone Woods. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
So I had no idea they were there, and I went out with a buddy the other day, and he traps bobcats, which is kind of bizarre. Not super.
I want him on the podcast.
Yeah, you gotta get Derek on here. But we went out he was teaching me how to trap bobcats, so he sets out the cage and everything. But on the way home, he was leading into, hey, I'm going to go get some, I don't know if they call it like veneer scraps or something, but he turns it into wood kindling for his fireplace. I was like, Pacific Northwest Tone Woods, where is this place? He's like, oh, I'm going to show you. So we pull in, and it's this phenomenal wood mill right up the road, up Highway 20 before you turn to Baker Lake. And I had no idea. I driven by that 1,000 times. And they're there making some of the most phenomenal pieces of art and wood for instruments all around the world. And it just had no idea. So people listening to this that love music can greatly appreciate. They need to go check out Pacific Northwest Tone Woods. I think I have a great appreciation for people that are coming to the town that haven't lived here before. I moved away, right? So I went away I was born in Cedar Woolley, just down the road at the hospital. And I think it was after my freshman year of high school, moved to Idaho, made some good buddies, finished up high school there, did some college there. Then had some buddies from that high school that convinced me to try California out. So I went and ventured, did the whole 20s in California, tried to learn how to surf and enjoy the beach and do all those things. I got into pool construction and an architecture degree and worked on beautiful custom homes. But then come full circle, you come back to your old hometown. Now you got some of these other skill sets or things, bits of knowledge that you may have never accumulated had you stayed in town forever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you get people that aren't from here or left to go do something different with their life and travel the world and see things. You look at it a little bit differently, and I just think it's super fascinating to hear about these other people that are doing that, and that's great.
Have you used any of your pool construction skills here in Washington?
I have not. I do love doing my own renovation work, but the pool construction thing, I think I just took the job because I needed to pay the bills getting into California.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's a good character builder, right? Like hard construction work, I think is a great way for people to appreciate what all these contractors and construction guys do on a daily basis, because it is labor intensive, but somebody's got to do it, right?
Exactly.
And you either made the wise decision to become the lead guy of the business that's doing pool construction, or maybe you made some poor decisions and you're the guy digging the pools, or you're just traveling and ending up there where you ended up having to take the role that you didn't want, but you just need to pay some bills.
So did you start this company on your own and then you slowly like amassed like a crew, or did you start it with a bunch of other people?
We started, so going back, it was just me solo filming, and
And what year did you start?
I started in 2010 is pretty much when I picked up a camera. So just to take you back a little bit, while doing architecture in California after I got my degree down there, I hit a plateau. I don't call it something. I hit a wall. There was something in my life missing. And my father, he worked on the pipeline in Alaska for a bit. And I remember he always had these awesome photos and the old school, what would you call it, like the cardboard slides where you could put them in the projector and spits them on the wall.
Yeah.
And he shows these photos. So I think that's kind of what inspired me to go pick up a camera and just mess around with it as a hobby while doing architecture. And I went on a hike and stumbled across the right guy at the right time in Hollywood and ended up somehow convincing him to give me a job opportunity on the side while doing architecture to do photo and video. And that just rippled into him starting a TV show called Hollywood Hunter. It was on Sportsman Channel Network, so if anybody watches hunting that ever listens to this, they'll know what it is. But
so it's a hunting show, but in California?
It was a hunting show.
I've seen Meat Eater. That's about it.
Yeah, so Meat Eater, I believe, was on Outdoor Channel.
Okay.
Or, no, it was on Sportsman Channel. It was on the same network when it first started.
Yeah.
So we were one of the shows that was on there. But I think part of it is he was living in California. He had a family ranch in Colorado. So we would go and film these hunting adventures on the family ranch. And when you do a contract with the TV network, you have to have X amount of episodes committed in your contract. So it was like 12 episodes. So you got to create 12 hunts or 12 stories, 12 episodes that are like 22 and a half minute long. And I just dove all into it. I was like, I'm going to learn how to do all this stuff. I'm starting out with the photo camera, and then I got into the video stuff. And then after doing about 12 seasons with Freddie, I kind of got to the point I was like, you know what, I'm just ready to spread my wings and start our own thing. So that's when I started Revel, which turned out to be January of 2020. So you got your primetime COVID, right? Best time ever to start a new business.
And was this in California?
This was after I came back here to Washington.
Okay, so when did you move here?
I moved back to Washington in 2016.
Okay.
And we were staying at my good friend Nathan's place out in Samish Island. So they had a beautiful beach house, and I got to convince my wife. I was like, hey, if we move back to Washington, Nathan's family's going to let us stay at your beach house. And then we ended up renovating his basement and stayed in there for a year to save up to buy where we live now over by Clear Lake.
Oh, okay.
So kind of went far, far from the nest and literally came back 10 minutes from the hospital I was born in.
Wow. So you moved up here in 2016. What were you doing for work then?
2016, I was still doing some of the Hollywood Hunter stuff.
Oh, okay, just remotely.
Yeah, remote. And then I had a bunch of photography clients in California at the same time. So architecture, tapered out architecture, got heavily involved in the hunting show. But off to the side, when season slows down, I would do photo shoots for weddings, bat mitzvahs, birthday parties, you name it. I'd shoot engagement parties, whatever it was in Hollywood, Los Angeles area that I'd get my hands on to just keep doing things with the camera. So it was a great gap fill. And then when we ended up moving back here, you lose a bunch of your clients because you're not local anymore. So now you start referring all your buddies to go shoot those events. But I had talked to Freya. I was like, hey, I've got a gap of extra time. And so he took advantage of the time for me to work remote and just take on more of the show production. So I started producing the show with him. And in between all of that is, I don't remember exactly, we tapered out of a season of a whole TV series. And that's when the timing was just good for me to go and start Revel. Because I'd always kind of had it in the back burner the last few years. And I was like, all right, it's time. I'm going to do this. But
it's January of 2020. Let's do it.
COVID's coming. I had no idea COVID was coming. Yeah. I was at the point where I'm like, okay, we got this new business model, this thing I'm going to do. While doing that, it worked pretty decent for me because I get hired to film a lot of guys that do unique hunts. So let's say I went with Alan Smith. Alan Smith lives in Woodinville, and he had bought a tag to hunt in Tajikistan in Asia maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So I'll get hired by some really talented guys that have a unique tag, and they want to document it. They're putting some good money into it, so they want to document their hunts. So during COVID, to offset me trying to get Revel off the ground, I was still filming these kind of independent hunts. And you'll go for a week, 2 weeks, depending on the species you're after. I'll just, like a photojournalist, video journalist, we're documenting everything from start to finish, and then you come back and put some edits together. But in between that, I was like, man, what am I gonna do to keep the funds coming in outside of filming these hunts? So I went around, excuse me, and we were taking pictures of people on porches.
Oh.
Remember how they did some of the COVID porch portraits?
Yes.
So I was floating around here in Cedro, and my wife's reaching out to friends, calling them like, hey, we're trying to do a little side hustle to make some money. And we'd have families sit on their porches. I had the 70 to 200 millimeter lens on my camera so I could not get too close to them. And they'd Venmo or some money. And then I would take these nice porch portraits and just make a fun memory for people to have. So
oh, wow.
I need to tap back into those and look at them. I'd probably laugh at it now. It's only been, 5 years?
I was going to say,
like
it almost feels like way, way long ago. Yeah.
I don't know if we had a chance to talk enough in depth since we just met on your porch. My wife's a bilingual paraeducator right here at Central in Cedar Woolley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I managed to lock in a Colombian. She's awesome.
I was going to ask if she was from here.
Yeah. So she's from here now, but I pulled her out of California. She was living in Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach area.
And that's where she was born?
She was born in Texas, raised in Downey, California.
Okay.
So Downey's what's the band? The Carpenters?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Carpenters are known for being out of Downey, and I think there was a pivotal moment when we had our only son, Hunter. We brought him here to visit some family, and he was with one of his little cousins in that little John Deere, the battery-operated thing.
Yeah.
I think when she saw him giggling and having that moment, she's like, okay, maybe we could try Washington. And there was just, things lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
I never thought I would ever get a chance to leave California once I got invested over there, but coming back this way. And now she's brought that Spanish-speaking skill set. Had no idea it would become applicable at Cedar Woolley, but now she's a bilingual paraeducator, and I think she's been there a year and a half. So
oh, wow.
She's doing really good.
Yeah.
And, growing dahlias and working on a mini farm. I think I just took a picture of her today with 3 chickens in her hands. We just went to the chicken store. And she's got we're building a little mini farm, so she's
cool.
addicted to all little small cute animals and things. And
and what's her name?
Jules.
How'd you guys meet?
We met, she was working at a bar and grill called, she's going to get mad at me if I forget, it's Beachfront. I think it's called Beachfront. But in Huntington Beach, the main strip of Huntington Beach, Surf City, USA. And I had a roommate that had just got hired there. And I played on a guy's softball league. It was like our Thursday night softball league. So we played in a tournament. And one of my buddies that I was playing with, I was like, hey, let's go check out this new spot that my buddy's working at and see what it's all about. And then he was going to drop me off there, and I'd hitch a ride home with my roommate. And the second my roommate opened the door when we got there to greet us, I was like, who is that gal working in the restaurant? Because I would really like you to introduce me to her. And it wasn't that moment that I really got to visit with her, because she's busy. She's helping a friend of hers open this restaurant. So she's training staff and busy. But I had a friend coming from Idaho to visit us the next night. And where do you go when you have a friend town? You go to where your buddy works, because that's where you get the cheap drinks and food. And so we went over there, and I just happened to intercept Jules getting off of work, and her friend was having a birthday there. And so I don't know what I said or how I managed to corner her, but I got her into a conversation. We sat there for an hour. It must have been an hour, and the time just flew by. And the next thing I know, my buddies are coming over like, hey man, we need to go to the next spot. We got a friend in town, let's give him the tour. And she said, I didn't get your number yet. And then I look over at the guest like, she just asked for my number? All right. So it was kind of the rest is history after that. It was kind of funny how some of that stuff unravels because not very often do you have a female asking you for your phone number. So
Yeah.
I was like, this is spicy Colombian. I like this. Yeah, it's great.
And you said that you guys have how many kids?
We have one boy. His name's
Okay.
Hunter. He's 10 years old. Awesome kid. He is in Taekwondo, plays piano. So we're getting him into the instruments because I think piano's a great foundation instrument to learn on. I hated it, but I think he takes to it really well.
Yeah, he has an ear for music.
Oh, he's got a great ear for music. And then for me, when I tried to play piano, I think my mom said, I was taking my lesson one day. It was our neighbor on the corner cooking out, and I just started bawling. I was like, I want to be outside. This is not for me. So music, I love listening to it. I have a great appreciation for it, but as far as playing or anything in that matter is not in my lane.
You went to Alaska
Yeah.
for a coffee company?
I went to film with Black Rifle Coffee,
Yeah.
if you've ever drank Black Rifle. And they had a chapter in their business where they were setting a goal that if they hit a financial marker, they were going to take, the owners were going to take themselves on a bear hunt. It was like their bucket list thing to do. So we went, I think we spent 16 days in a tent in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. And this is 1, 2, 3, I think it was 3 flights to get there. And somehow I got put in a tent that was like 50 yards away from everybody else. And then
You're by yourself?
I was by myself. The camera guy is in the
bear
tent.
country.
And then the other 2 tents, I think 3 guys were in each one. So there's about 7 of us out there. But I do remember we hiked 2 miles roughly each day to go up to these high glassing knobs. And when you're bear hunting, what's unique about it is you pick a stationary spot and you get your inventory of the area. So you'll glass and glass from dark to dark looking for animals. And just because you see a bear doesn't mean that bear's going to be there in 2 hours by the time you hike over to it, because these things cover a tremendous amount of ground. So you'll look around and try to find the animals. Then when one finally stays in a spot where there's maybe some fresh melted snow where the green grass is and that's what they're feeding on, he might be a little more predictable, or you could go and try to hunt for the thing and get over there the next day. So it was a super fascinating trip to go with Black Rifle Coffee guys. And it's nice when you can break that barrier of people that are in business where they have a certain switch they have to turn on. They're dealing with people all the time, right? And then when you can get them in their own natural element, like sit down and talk to them, like having a podcast where you can just talk to people, like just get to know them. And they're really wonderful, genuine guys. So I really, really enjoyed that trip. But that was a bizarre one. I just got a random call to go out there and it's like, let's give it a go.
Were there any hunting trips that you filmed for the show where you guys just couldn't air it? It just...
I think that one they've just broke into a multiple series. It's, I believe, the YouTube channel. If anybody wants to watch it, it's on Free Range American is where they ended up putting it on. That's one of Black Rifle's YouTube channels.
Okay.
So I think they broke the bear hunt up. We did a bunch of edits for them, and they split it into like 6 or 8 different chapters of that 16-day trip.
Yeah.
So it's an intense environment because when I'm going back to that tent part I was talking about, and you hike up to that glassing knob, I go around the corner while everyone's glassing. I look down, I see this big brown bear is walking 50 yards from the tent that I'm supposed to sleep in later that night. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So
one of the only Meat Eater episodes I saw was when Joe Rogan was on it, I think with Brian Callen, just because I used to listen to his podcast a lot, and so I thought it would be kind of funny. But I was just thinking that would be funny to have a hunting trip with local musicians that don't hunt.
Yes.
There are a couple that do hunt. Wes Jones, I'm thinking of you. Wes Jones is a big hunter, but that would be pretty funny. Yeah.
Meat Eater's taken a few talented musicians, right?
Oh, have they?
I
didn't know
they've
that.
taken a couple of pretty popular
Probably.
country singers.
Yeah.
We're working on a pilot right now called Field to Feast, and instead of taking singers out, we're taking high-level chefs. They know everything about processing meat, processing game, how to cook it, but they don't know how to curate their own meat. So it's kind of a fun one where you get to take somebody out that's a master at what they do. They've got all the creds. Our buddy Chad, who we took on a whitetail hunt in November, he was on Top Chef. Like, he's accomplished, but he has no idea what he's doing. You put a gun in his hands. So we took him deer hunting and taught him how to do his first time hunt and document all that. So we're working on a pilot episode right now. I think we're just a couple days from getting our first episode done for it.
How did he like the hunting?
He said it was life-altering.
Oh.
And I think a lot of people, when you think of hunting, you think of going out, killing an animal. But most people don't realize that is such a tiny, tiny part of what goes into it. Just physically prepping to go into the mountains or go out to the backcountry. And what are you going to put in your backpack? How much weight are you going to be carrying? Where are you going to find the animals? All the research and everything that goes into it. The actual, shooting an animal is so tiny. And it gets a lot of wrong light shed on it. But I think anybody that's never done it, it's a very spiritual, surreal kind of experience. Like, if you've never done it, I'll take you hunting. We can do it.
I did get my license to hunt. My ex was into duck hunting.
Okay.
I can't remember if I actually went, though. I did shoot a gun at some point. I don't really remember. We made our daughter go. We like to
forced her.
Encourage her to do hard things. And so, just little by little.
Yeah.
And, man, it was... CJ said was the most miserable time. It was so cold and rainy, and she was there the whole time, and she hated it. And I said, well, you're going to go again. Maybe not tomorrow, but, another point. But no, I was going to say that I don't know a ton about hunting, just besides what he would tell me about duck hunting. But do you know what ultra running is?
Ultra running, as in prepping for marathons, triathlons?
No, so ultra running is, so there's marathons and then there's ultra marathons. So an ultra marathon is anything over 30 miles.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
Are you going to do one?
Oh, I've done several.
What?
Yeah, I know it doesn't look like it. I got injured last year. But no, I've done 100 and I've done a few 50s. But the only things I really know about hunting, especially big game hunting, is from Cam Haines.
Okay. Yep.
Do you know him? Yeah.
Yep.
So Oregon, I think he's in Eugene,
an Oregon
I think.
Guy,
Yeah.
yep.
So his brother Taylor is a really big ultra runner.
Okay.
And I think Cam also got into it a little bit too. I mean, he's always running. I think he runs a marathon a day. That's his thing. But so learning about, I'd follow his stuff on Instagram, and I think at one point he wrote. He wrote a check to somewhere in some neighboring state for bighorn sheep. He just wrote this giant check, and he's like, I don't think people understand how much hunters care about this sport. We're not just going out to these environments willy-nilly and just killing animals.
No, not at all.
This is our food. And and they donate so much time and money to the cause. And then there was another person that I had met a few years ago that would go trophy hunting, and right away I was like, oh, it's terrible. You have this whatever elephant head, or I don't know what he has, but I'm just seeing these giant heads everywhere. He goes to Africa and goes to them. But he explained to us, these are villages that are so poor. This rhino is on its last legs. He's actually ruining the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And if I want to spend however much money to fly there and kill it,
right?
They're going to let me.
Right.
And they're like, thank you. You're actually helping our village so much by doing this. And then I get to keep the horn or whatever. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it could feel, I guess you could call it, what would you say, oxymoronic sometimes when you're going out, you're going to go shoot something to help somebody do something to make it better. But a lot of times what will happen is you can buy a conservation tag. So if you are a wealthy business person, you're going to have to write your taxes off somewhere, right? But if you buy a conservation tag, a chunk of that money, a good chunk of that money goes back towards helping the species, goes back into the conservation fund, and instead of just writing it to Uncle Sam, now you can go on a fun hunting adventure with it. And that's where you get your taxidermy, you have your trophy on the wall, and you can brag to your buddies about how big it was.
And hunters want these animals to prosper so they can keep hunting.
Of course, yeah. And it's it's part of the game management process. And I think it's lack of knowledge, information, or people that just think of hunting. They think of the brutal side. It's like talking about Shark Week when you see sharks attacking everybody. It's very, very minimal attacks if you put the numbers out there of what's happening to folks. So getting out and doing hunting, I think it's a great way for people just to fully understand where your food comes from, right? Even foraging for mushrooms. Like you put mushrooms on your pizza, you don't actually know where those mushrooms are come from. But if you went out and forage for them, you're going to have a different appreciation for that slice of pizza you're going to eat.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. And different species. I feel bad for your daughter having to go learn on a really cold, wet, miserable duck day, because most people that do duck hunting, they either absolutely love it or they're like, I'm not hunting ever again. Light gets shed differently on certain topics where you can make hunting look as bad as you want. It's my buddy Jeremiah Dowdy said it the best. He did some research and he said on average 50 or 55 sets of hands will touch a package of meat before it hits the shelf in a grocery store. He was doing looking up some stats on it. And that's not obviously every package of meat, but if you go to buy a steak and there's that many hands that have shot the animal, processed it, got it somewhere, put it in cellophane, put it on a shelf, or you can learn to hunt and you can go process it. It could be just you and maybe your dad or family member's hands that package it up, put in the freezer. You know exactly where it came from, way more organic, living a happy life, and then you did your part to help manage the population based off of the Fish and Game's regulations, right? Yeah. You don't just go shoot a bear whenever you want. They took away spring bear, now you have fall bear, but there's a dedicated season for when you can hunt stuff.
Yeah. No, I think just more information is just important for everyone.
Yeah, I do too. And then what would be what have you done with your hunter's safety so far? You haven't hunted at all, right? No. So
I took the course, and then, gosh, I think 2020 hit shortly after that.
Okay.
And then just, the world just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And then it just became like, oh, hey, like, you go hunt with your friends, and then I was probably starting the podcast. Who knows?
But I think with your background of doing competitive ultramarathons, or ultras, yeah. So you're already great at challenging yourself for the endurance side of things.
Oh yeah.
Hunting to me it's an armed hike. Like you could go out there 25 times and never have a chance to even shoot an animal. You might see some, but part of it is just going out for the physical fitness and getting up into these epic, beautiful mountains and along the river. Like it's peaceful, it's good for your body, and I think a lot more people just, if they think about it from that perspective, you don't have to go shoot something if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But you take your weapon, and if the opportunity presents itself and you can fill the freezer, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Running, I just think of like Forrest Gump. I've ran Tough Mudders. I've done some.
Oh yeah, I've done Tough Mudder. Yeah.
California had a bunch of mud runs where you can go and do the fun obstacles and thing.
Yeah.
And Tough Mudder, what did we do? Was there one called not Gladiator. What's the Spartan.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a tough mudder, and you're halfway through it, and there's a big poster. It's like, if this was a Spartan race, you'd be finishing right now. You're only halfway through it. Yeah. But I did like some of those. Those were fun just to test yourself out on all the crazy things they put you through. Cold water, jumping walls, and the camaraderie, and sliding in mud and getting electrocuted at the end.
I think we did the electrocuting one. Yeah.
Watch people spaz at the end.
Well, and then how do you challenge yourself now? Like, do you feel like you're challenging yourself with the projects you take on?
I would say two things would be, because we're still filming hunts. So typically at the end of this month would be the start of spring bear season. So it'd be the start of my fitness season is like right now. I have to start getting prepared for that, because when you're hunting in bear country, I mean, you're climbing some crazy steep hills. Your elevations anywhere climbing up to 3,000 to 5,000 feet.
And you're around here?
And this is like eastern Washington, Idaho.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Idaho for spring bear. Fall you can do Washington. And then Idaho you can do fall also. But usually it's turkey and bear seasons right now, and then you get into all the other species throughout the year. So I'm in the mountains filming so much, and I usually have between 40 to 65 pounds on my back.
Wow.
So I stay in reasonable mountain shape. I wouldn't say my gut agrees, but I stay in reasonable shape as far as leg strength, just climbing in the mountains all the time. And then beyond that, with our little mini farm, I think my honey-do list is so massive. You're carrying 2x4s around and lugging wheelbarrows with gravel. There's just so much activity. I'm just a busy body.
Yeah.
But I don't take the time to like go run like you do. I'm amazed. That's a whole different level.
Well, it's funny because people will go, oh, I hate running. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I force myself to go, like, do you know David Goggins?
I don't.
He always, he's like a big ultra runner. I think he's friends with Cam Haines too, but he always talks about, he's like a Navy SEAL. Like he did Hell Week twice, and But he always talks about, like, he puts on his shoes and he sits there for half an hour, like, fuck, I don't want to go. Fuck, I don't want to go. And then eventually he'll go and just feel amazing, right? But it's like, he's like, even me, you know, Navy SEAL, I sit there and go, nope.
I think if you set a goal, right? For me, I could see trail running where it's like, I'm going to park at this parking lot. I'm going to go up the trail. I'm going to get to a beautiful view at the top, do whatever, take my Zen moment, and then run back out. That to me would probably be more motivational. But most of the time, anything that I'm doing is, I've got a hunt I got to go on. If I don't work out, I'm going to be lagging and I'm going to hold the client back, and then I'm going to get in trouble, and then I'm not going to get paid. So it's a different motive.
So you're working out for your paycheck. Yeah.
And I did tennis. We'll have to play at these tennis courts right here in Cedar Woolley at some point.
No, that was that was back in the day.
Off.
See, I was only coaching because, you know, when you're a good player, you play. Yeah. When you're not a good player, you coach.
But when you're coaching, you're still hitting tennis balls around, aren't you?
Oh, man. I feel like I'd get injured so quick. Have you seen that show called Alone?
Yeah. I've got a couple of buddies. I hate name drop. I've got a couple of buddies that have been on the show.
Really? Who?
Yeah. So Ray Livingston and Corey Hawk.
Okay, what seasons were they on?
I believe one was on 6 and one was on 7.
With Jordan Jonas? The guy who shot the moose?
Yeah.
And he was on Rogan.
I believe it was that same season. I just don't know which one Ray and Corey was on.
Okay. But I'm
almost sure it was 6 and 7.
Jordan Jonas was on 7, I think. And it was funny because, like I said, I used to listen to Rogan a lot, and then I just kind of perused, and I went, Jordan Jonas, I'm not going to listen to a Jonas brother. And then it randomly just came on one day, and I was like, oh, that was the guy from Alone. But you know what's interesting? They didn't even they barely touched on Alone.
On his
this
show.
guy went to Russia to build orphanages. Like, the guy is so fascinating, which this is such an amazing thing because you think you know someone, and then you get to know their whole story, and it's just unreal. So these guys that you know, are they from here?
So Ray Livingston, he's from Oregon. He lived in Eastern Washington for a while. I think he's still in Washington. He's got a predator control business now.
Oh, wow.
And he mentors people on hunts.
Oh, cool.
And we've done some filming with him. He's awesome. I'm actually going to be on the bear hunt coming up end of this month with him over in Clark Fork, Idaho.
Oh, cool.
And then Corey, I flew out to Nebraska and filmed him doing we call it an artist feature. So we did an artist feature of him showing the process of how to make a bow from scratch because he's a bowyer. He's got a business called Organic Archery, so you could sign up and go take a class with him and build a bow literally from a tree all the way down, whittled to a piece of equipment you can shoot arrows from and hunt with.
Wow.
And I think it's like a 3-day process, so we filmed him doing that from ground zero all the way through and then hunting for a deer. And that's on his YouTube channel right now. If you went to Organic Archery on YouTube, you could watch that.
Oh, that's
video.
so cool.
But that was a fun one.
Yeah.
So we call that artist feature when we can get somebody that's got that craftsman skill set working with their hands.
Yeah.
But both wonderful, just genuine, down-to-earth people. And if I ever got lost in the woods, hopefully they're the guys that are with me because they know what they're doing. And it's just a series of unfortunate events, I think, where you're like, those guys are both fully capable to win it, but you twist your leg or your hut catches on fire. There's so many unpredictable things that happen. Yeah. No matter who you think's going to win it, it's like could change last second.
I remember when it first came out, though, I thought, oh my gosh, finally, like, the only reality show out there. Mm-hmm. You know, the other shows are reality shows. Like, no, this is it. They're by themselves. They set up their cameras. Because you were talking about hiking with a pack, right? Right. All your equipment, like, that's what they had to do as well. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun show to watch. Just because you learn a lot. There's so many. Did you see the one where the guy had green hair? No. And he dyed his hair green. And most people... On the show? He dyed his hair before he went on to the show. Okay. So he gets there, and he ends up cutting his hair and using his green hair as fishing lure. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That was probably one of the best little tricks I'd seen somebody do. That is smart. Impressed. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Have you ever seen that show, Naked and Afraid? Yes. Have you worked on that show? I feel like they always, and not to bash on people, but I feel like they always get really dumb people to do it. Well, like obnoxious, where they pair them together, where they just hate each other the whole time. Is one dumb person they didn't get on was my friend Justin. So I call him my friend. So the ultra running community is kind of small. Like you think about all the people in the world, and then all the people in the world that run, and then all the people in the world that run marathons, and then the people who run ultra marathons.
1%.
It's a small community, yeah. So I just, have a bunch of Instagram ultra running friends, and Justin's one of them, and he is on the new season of Naked and Afraid.
Oh, no.
But this guy is like, I mean, the things that he's done, I think he like went across America. Like he did like a bike run, swim type thing across the entire country. He raises money for cool events or for cool charities, and he's very open about his mental health, and it's just incredible. And I'm never surprised at, like, I think he's going to run across Iceland with his friend Hector. That's like their new thing. But in the meantime, he's like, hey, I was on Naked and Afraid. I'm like, of course you were.
Of course you were.
Of course.
You're like, check, that box has been checked.
He's like one of the dudes, too, that, like, he enters those competitions where you lift stones. Like, literally, like, you just lift stones. I don't even know what it's called.
Like strongman?
Yeah, he does that. Like, he pulls, like, semi-trucks and just those people that can do any crazy thing. And he's like, okay, I'm going to start training, and I'm going to do it.
Start training, just run naked.
Yeah.
After being on Naked and Afraid, just run naked everywhere.
I didn't know they were actually naked.
That's an even smaller group of people than the naked runners.
I just thought they had, like, a loincloth. Like, nope, they're actually naked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the, I forgot. What's the tribe that can run, they'll, like, run animals down when they're hunting?
Oh, I read that book, Born to Run, by Christopher McDougall.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was, they can run for like 24 hours.
Yeah, they'll literally run an animal till it's exhausted.
Yeah.
That's their hunting method, right?
Yeah, I don't think...
That might be your hunting method. We just haven't figured it out yet.
I was going to say, I usually, when I run, there's an aid station. So actually, one of my favorite runs I did, I did 100K. So that's 60 miles.
Oh.
It was, do you know Mukilteo at all?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Kind of by Boeing. So there's this area called the Gulch, the Japanese Gulch, and there's a trail system there. And my buddy John, he's usually like involved in my races somehow. He said, like, he's won like the Gulch, last man standing, I think. And he said, hey, we're going to put on a race. I think it was around COVID. He's like, we'll just do it ourselves. Adam was right there. It'll be perfect. Okay. He's like, yeah, you can try for your 100K. I'm like, let's do it. I did, I want to say 2 of the 8-mile loop, I think it was. I tripped at some point, like very early on, and just like, lost it. And I went, wait, so I'm supposed to be doing this for like 24 hours and I'm already tripping on these routes? Oh, no. I can't do this. So at one point, John showed me this ball field. He's like, hey, that's a half-mile loop. If you ever like just want to burn out some quick flat miles, you can go there. So I did 2 loops first of the main track. And then I was like, fuck it. I just grabbed a bunch of supplies. I went to the ball field and I did 40 miles. I did 80 loops of this 0.5 mile ball field. Man,
where your mind goes when you're doing this. I would love to be in your head watching the mechanics of what you like. What are you thinking about when you're running for that long?
You're just running. It's like Forrest Gump. Like, I'm just going to run. At one point, I thought I saw his wife, Brittany, in the bushes. And I was like, oh, what are you doing there? And she was holding one of her babies. And I was like... And then she disappeared. I'm like, oh, that wasn't real.
Oh
yeah.
So
No, I mean, I could probably give you like at least 10 people in concrete that like you need to talk to. It's just, I mean, that alone. And then I'm sure there's tons of people here in Cedar Woolley. Yeah. And probably the more people that you meet here, they tell you more people that you should talk to, and it's just endless.
And this is the whole goal, right? Is just stirring. You just stir the pot. Somebody hears it or tells somebody like, "Hey, listen to this episode. Heard about this guy or this gal," and just getting people connected. Like it just strengthens the community.
Yeah.
So I just love that you invited me to be on here just to get to do a podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say you send people my way, and then I'll send people your way, and
perfect.
It'll work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess people can find you on Instagram.
Yeah, we have. If you want to follow our business page on Instagram, it's Revel Entertainment. Lover backwards. Revel Entertainment, or my personal one is Clint _Easley, Easley, on Instagram. And I think I just sync those both up to Facebook. I'd be lying if I said I check Facebook frequently. But for sure, Instagram. And then revelentertainment.com. So our website. And you can find other links to get a hold of us or send us an email on there.
So if anyone is like, hey, I want to try this crazy video project.
Challenge accepted.
You're like, let's sit down.
Yeah, let's, I'm all about the conversation. Sometimes it might turn into like, is the budget feasible? Or is it something that's really unique for our portfolio? We don't need to talk about budget. Maybe we want to do it because it's beneficial for everybody. So I think it's always worth the conversation and see where it leads. But we're all about being able to drum up more local opportunities because I spend 137 to 145 days traveling every year. I'd like to dilute that. I'd like to do more stuff locally. So please reach out. I'd be all about having those conversations.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll point people your way, and I'm sure this is the beginning of like multiple conversations.
I hope so. This is great.
Awesome. Thanks for coming over.
And being able to take people, right? We go film them, tell a story, do a podcast, and then you could cross promote that in so many fun ways.
Yeah.
People can hear it on all different platforms.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it.
I love it.
Anybody interested, give us a holler.
Thanks, Clint.
Yeah, thank you.